Sweat out some gainers this weekend in San Diego with our best bets for when NASCAR races the base, whether it's Cup, O'Reilly, or Truck Series. We've got you covered next, right here on the back road.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Backroad, In Between Media and FSAN's Fantasy NASCAR betting show. I don't know where Fantasy NASCAR came from. I've been in kind of a throwback mood. Pocono weekend always makes me nostalgic, Seth. Elliot Hicks Seth Woolcock here. And man, it seems like the Pocono weekend goes so fast. We're already here talking about another race and a real exciting one this weekend at Naval Base Coronado in San Diego.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more exciting than this, Elliot. And I think as the buzz was definitely palpable there last weekend in the Great Pocono Mountains, people were definitely setting sail and talking about their plans for San Diego here, getting their accommodations, that type of stuff, and just kind of what we're going to see out on the track as well. So looking forward to this one. I've said this before. I think the last time I said my favorite betting card of the year was heading to Watkins Glen. I got absolutely cooked. So, hey, I'm going to say it again. Best betting card, favorite betting card going in pre-flop of the season right here, folks. So we'll see how it goes, my friend.
We'll see what the crew thinks of it. I can't wait to hear it too. Tonight, we will look back in the rear view at the weekend at Pocono. A little bit abbreviated. We encourage you to check out all the content that we put out throughout the weekend and still more content to come from the Pocono Raceway. Then in our Horizon Forecast, we'll break down all there is to know about San Diego. We'll talk a little fast lap news as well as silly season starts to heat up. And then in our Parking Garage Props, we'll give you our best bets for the weekend on Naval Base Coronado. NASCAR industry using it kind of like as a vacation. We're seeing people walk the track and start to learn things. And man, it's going to be exciting. Best way to support us, though, like I said, obviously we encourage you to go back and watch everything we did from the track. We had a great time. Easiest way, give this video a thumbs up and a like, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've been going through some diversification across the brand. I wanted to wear the IBT hat while I still can. Seth, I'll leave it up to you what else you want to divulge right now. But right here will continue to be the home of all racing content. I can tell you that.
Yep, FSAN Fantasy Racing Advice channel right here on YouTube. The OG IBT channel has switched from that to racing because we have such a great racing audience here. We said, hey, let's just make this the racing channel. This is what people seem to want to come to each week, easiest to find. Let's put it out there for the great humans on the internet. So right here, still can find us there. The Backroad audio edition doesn't change either. So good stuff happening over there. We'll have more to come to you on this this change, but really appreciate FSAN and everything they're doing out there to support us. And easiest way, as Ellie said, subscribe. If you guys can give this video a thumbs up, and also go on and check some of the great Pocono content we put out as well. From meeting up with some wannabe country singers, dropping out full albums I've been absolutely running this week, or just to catching up with the drivers on the track, and from everything we learned pre-practice and qualifying led to some good days on the betting card on Sunday. Arguably, I would say our best combined day as a show on the season. So that was great. And then we have all the recap action for you. We got to talk to Denny Hamlin. You got to talk to Dale Jr. We're going to have a clip out from that here later this week as well. So a lot of fun stuff happening over there. So I just encourage people to check that out. Your support over there helps us get to more races, and shows the bosses that, hey, this is a worthwhile investment.
Yeah, absolutely, man. From being able to have the track as our beautiful background on Saturday for the post-race stuff to having to be cornered in a little broom closet interview room because the rain started to come down. It was still good, though. It was still a lot of fun. Also want to shout out those of you on the YouTube comments so far. Marcus chiming in as usual. I know who his pick's going to be. I'll show you in a minute. But for everybody, let us know your picks to win. Let us know any questions that you've got about the weekend. We'll do our best to answer them. Any bets that you guys find that are good, any picks you've got, throw them in the comments in the live chat, man. It's exciting, and we're ready to chop it up with you guys as always. Of course, Marcus is going to go with Christopher Bell. Really good road course driver. That broken wrist, though, might do him a little harm. We'll talk about that throughout the evening. And Hunter checking in as well. Can't wait for this one. Had it circled on the schedule. I'm pretty sure that's true for everybody, Seth.
Is this the most ambitious NASCAR race in the history of the sport? I mean, I know Chicago, maybe downtown Chicago is even more ambitious, but this is up there, and it also might be just the absolute coolest as someone who's like a big fan of Top Gun, shot in this, similar area of the country, but just kind of the vibes you get out there with the aircraft carriers and the jets going. Like, I don't know if there's anything cooler there, Elliot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Definitely going to be a weekend to remember to salute everyone in our armed forces and also to salute and shout out some friends of the show as well tonight, Seth.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get started tonight, we wanted to send our thoughts, support, and prayers to Nick and Thomas, a couple friends of the show, two guys who've been a big part of our race community, but also a very, very dear friend to Chris, of course. Chris Colicchio. He's our data analyst, also of the Flag Hunting Podcast brand as well. Their family right now going through a pretty difficult time as their dad remains in the ICU. So we know many listeners out there continue to join us, and we could really use your thoughts and prayers going out to our friends there, Nick and Thomas, and their dad as he attempts to recover here, and just bring their family some grace. So if you guys can just, keep them in mind. Chris has known Nick and Tom for quite a long time, and anyone who knows their passion for motorsports also knows these guys are huge Boston sports fans as well, big in the Dodge Viper community, just very, very passionate for that, which comes from their dad's hard work and dedication, who actually worked on Dodge and in the Vipers. So as we head into the weekend, we'd love nothing more. I got a little Ram on the card this weekend as well, Elliot. So we'd love to get one of those Ram trucks in Victory Lane. But more importantly, we're thinking of Nick, Thomas, and that entire family out there for the strengths in the days ahead, man.
No doubt about it. Can't echo those thoughts anymore. Thoughts, prayers, and best wishes out to them, and appreciate their support. We can only do our best to support them back. All right, let's get into it and take a look back in the rear view.
Baby, that's how you do it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You are the fans. No way! We did it! Yeah!
Again, we're going to try to keep things relatively short in the rear view because we put out a full show after the race from the media center. So we encourage you to go watch that to hear a full breakdown of the race. I will mention, kind of what happened, our winning bets, but also Hauler Talk Pod this week, which talks with the NASCAR higher-ups. They needed to get out to San Diego, as everybody said, and they said if there had to be a rain postponement on Sunday, the start time would have been Monday at 8 a.m., which would have been the earliest start in Cup Series history. And Seth, 8 a.m. start Monday, we probably would have had to have been out of Arrowhead Lake at about 3:30 in the morning to not hit traffic.
Hey, I'm here for it, though. You know what? And shout out to NASCAR. And more importantly, we discussed this late in the media center there on Sunday. Shout out Prime, because that was not possible without everyone there coordinating their schedules, getting ahead of this thing, moving this race up. I mean, we had tornado warnings back home here in Clearfield County, Elliot. So, it definitely was a crazy day of weather really across the United States, particularly here in our Pennsylvania Keystone State region. So shout out to NASCAR, shout out to Josh Shapiro for getting his ass in there bright and early too, do a little media availability. So everyone was on their P's and Q's, and it really shows us it comes down to those TV provider networks.
No doubt. On the Cup side, of course, Denny Hamlin won his third race in a row, continuing his Pocono dominance and Toyota's dominance across the board. Down in the O'Reilly Series, Allgaier pulls off another one, his fifth win of the year, over Sam Mayer and gives Dale Jr. another year of celebration in the Pocono Mountains, which is kind of what we chatted about. My winning bets, all-time best weekend for me in gross winnings.
Let's go, baby.
E2 in profit, though. Darlington last spring, still my best in profit, but all-time gross winnings here. And, we talk about getting on heaters here. I've been in the green 10 of the last 14 weeks, so definitely heating up as the summer rolls on. Had the Denny Hamlin minion left, outright at 3-1, top 3 minus 150, top 5 minus 230. And I said I had almost half my unit share on Denny bets. So when that guy wins the race, you're going to do pretty well. But also Hamlin top 3, Larson top 5 at plus 330. Had top 10s hit on Buescher, Jones, and JHN. Again, the Legacy boys disrespected at FanDuel and was able to hit some over there. 3 for 3 in matchups, the 5 over the 12, the 54 over the 19, and the 43 over the 6. Also took the lead in that matchups contest, which we'll talk about later.
Let's go.
Suarez passed Cindric late to win that group that I had him in at 2-1. And then over in O'Reilly, we had the opposite sides of the Cruz Zilisch matchup. I won that one with Brent Cruz at plus 125.
Yeah, man. I mean, just a phenomenal day overall for you. Should have bet more on the Hamlin outright like you did. Should have came ahead for those legacy boys, top 10s early in the week like you did. So, you've really inspired me. I would say, Elliot, I'm kind of taking a page out of your book. I'm trying to get a little bit more plus money on the card this week just because I've been, seeing you have so much success with it. And, scared money doesn't make money. And that was a great use of it last week, my friend.
No doubt about it. And hey, you hit some bets as well. Toyota parlay, a little F1 as well too.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed over to the Bang Pros YouTube channel as well. That's the 9 to 5 over there. And we've been swinging a hot bat on the World Cup side of things so far this week. And Lewis Hamilton over on the F1 side of things. I made a short for them last week about this. But plus 190 at FanDuel for a full unit down. That felt really good. I mean, dude won the race. So again, another opportunity. Maybe I ladder that up a little bit, but good to see him get back to what do they call it in F1? Not the victory lane, the top of the podium. Top
step of the podium. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cause it's not really victory lane, I guess, but, and then, Yoder's going to Yode parlay of the week. We got that Denny Hamlin outright with the Tyler Reddick, top 5 parlayed with. I wish I would have parlayed that up to the top 3 that I saw out there pre-manufactured. Wish I would have probably put more than a 0.8 of a unit down, but Sam Mayer top 10 for a couple units comes back home. And then a couple big race day ads too. Chris Bell not to finish top 10, minus 191 for a unit and a half. Ryan Blaney top 10, minus 112 for 2 units. So last lap magic there for the boy with Chris Bell pitting. So overall up about 7.5 units on the weekend. Could have been more, could have been less, but we'll walk away with a dub either way from the tricky triangle.
Our guy Hunter had a big day too, cashed on Hamlin big and Legacy huge. We were saying after the race we should have parlayed the Jones.
Oh man,
had the JHN top 5 too, so good work on that one, Hunter. That was something we were kind of regretting afterward.
Yeah, Hunter, I want to know let us know what numbers you got on that parlay, because that was something we talked about. Like, why didn't we just parlay? I was thinking that earlier today. I'm not much of a parlay guy, Elliot, but I had 2 Canadian soccer players. I had them parlayed to get 2 shots on goal. They had it in about the first 10-15 minutes of that match. So I'm like, man, I need to start getting back in the parlays.
Nothing wrong with the parlays, and we definitely got some this week to try to get some value. Again, for a full extended recap from Pocono, we encourage you guys, after you get done watching us live tonight, go check out our post-race show that we did at Pocono. We also ran post-race shows from the O'Reilly race. You can see just how well we did after post-P&Q on the Cup side and see how well that translated over. We also went back on those storylines. So again, full Pocono post-race. We encourage you to check that out. For now, though, let's get a little fast lap news going again. My bad. I cut off your comment there, Hunter. Had the Legacy top 10 parlay around 15-1, JHN top 5 33-1. Very, very good numbers, and glad we weren't the only ones doing the winning, because that's what we love. Us versus the books, man.
He had to have been burning down shenanigans there on a Sunday night after that. Let me tell you, my friend, Lake Harmony must have been bumping. Good for you, Hunter.
All right, so we had some silly season moves. Chris Buescher re-signing a multi-year deal with RFK. There was some speculation about maybe other teams were interested. RFK is probably going to have to run an open car next year, but Buescher putting his faith in the 17 and RFK Racing.
Hey, and it's a place he's had success with, right? I mean, we're not too far away from a season removed in the next gen era where he had 3 wins. I think they came in about a span of 5 or 6 weeks as well. So, we would still like to see Chris Buescher get back to victory lane. That's what's kind of held him back, but it hasn't been for a lack of trying, right? I think Watkins Glen a couple of years ago, outdueling SVG head to head, was his last win. And but since he's had runs at Kansas, he's had runs at Michigan where arguably he should have won a couple races. So, he's still sitting in a pretty good position. I would say now, Elliot, in the era of the chase coming back, in the lack of win to get in, Chris Buescher, a guy who's 7th in points currently, he's exactly who you want in your franchise leading the way.
Yeah, and it really has shown, doing great this year. Yeah, that was his last win, and RFK's last points win was 2024 Watkins Glen.
Wow.
But we know the guy has the potential, and RFK going to be in a good spot whether they have to run an open car or not, we know they have good drivers in the stable, and they're locking down Chris Buescher for the foreseeable future. Another ride that is changing, Jesse Love getting his call up to the Cup Series. He'll drive the number 21 for the Wood Brothers next season. Josh Berry, of course, out of that ride. And Love, we were kind of speculating maybe there's not really a future for him at RFK. Getting in the door with the Wood Brothers means getting in the door with Penske, and that's a spot that any young prospect would be happy to be in.
Absolutely. And this is a guy who I think he saw the writing on the wall that what happens to me if I stick with RCR? Do I really want to be driving around in the Cup Series in equipment that's going to be potentially 25th to 30th place equipment at some weeks, maybe the best? I have a top 10 car here and there. Road courses can dice it up a little bit, but I think he would have been fast at Richmond, right? You would have been fast at Richmond if you hung on to RCR. But I think it's a very smart move by Jesse Love. I think it's a smart move by the Wood Brothers as well. Jesse Love, no pun intended, beloved, it seems like, by his peers, by the fans as well. He's done it every step of the way. Already in his second year, he goes out there, wins the O'Reilly Series championship, and dominate ARCA the year before. So this is a guy who I think he's going to continue to take big steps forward. That said, though, just based on what we've seen, whether it's Connor Zilisch this year or go back in previous years where it takes Ty Gibbs some time, and even guys like Carson Hocevar some time, you're probably going to be fading him when he gets to the next level, right? Maybe you fade him for the rest of the season in O'Reilly, because I think if we go back to Talladega or Daytona, if they have to put more time into one of these rockets, they're probably going to put it in Austin Hill even though I think it's still a good move for them, to keep good cars and good equipment and have them running good and have them in the conversation to run deep into the playoffs. But yeah, good move overall, but something from a betting standpoint, maybe you want to fade.
Yeah, probably fade all next year in the Cup Series. But yeah, just give this kid time. I think he's just as talented as the Zilisch is. Corey Heim, who knows how long it's going to take him going full-time next year to win.
Right.
But exciting that he'll get that opportunity in the Cup Series. The Wood Brothers, though, kind of a revolving door for quite a while. You look at their driver history. No driver has won more than one race for the Wood Brothers, going all the way back to Kyle Petty in the mid-90s. Wow. And there's nobody that's driven for them for more than 4 years since either. You had Kyle Petty, I think, was there 4 years. Elliot Sadler was there 4 years. But it's kind of a revolving door of a seat to an extent. I do think Love gives them more security if he's able to perform well, get that win off the board relatively soon. He's got age on his side, unlike Barry, who was an older Cup prospect. And it could be a situation where if Love runs well enough, he's in the door at Penske, you could almost do a little switcheroo with one of those Penske drivers, put them in the 21 to kind of almost fade them out of Cup if you ever had to. But for now, though, Jesse Love, going to be exciting to see him come up. It is going to take a while, though, before we start to get that far down the tinfoil hat lane.
Yeah, I mean, high upside play, right? High upside swing, maybe the highest they've had in that car since Ryan Blaney, I would argue. Yeah. Right? Josh Berry, very safe pick. You know what you're going to kind of get from him. Harrison Burton was a bit of a swing. So, you liked what they were trying to do there. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, Joey Logano, is he long for this sport? I'm not sure. He's going to have a really great career, I think, in the booth or as an analyst or as a podcast host, wherever he wants to go. He's going to have a great career there. And I think the same is to be said for Austin Cindric, even though Cindric obviously in the earlier parts of his career still.
Yeah, remember, Cindric was originally going to take the 21 before Brad Keselowski left the 2. So that kind of had that swing around. In any case, though, silly season is starting to come together. We've decided to hold off on our full breakdown of all the 2027 ride changes. We're going to have that be Chris's big return from his little paternity leave, because he said he really enjoys talking the silly season. So we're going to give him that opportunity to kind of break things all down as things continue to melt together as the summer goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it all happens and everything shakes out in the well, I think we can break that down from a betting perspective and even kind of really learn more from that and, how we're going to decide to approach futures next year and just the cards in general week to week.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely include that in our breakdown as well whenever that comes. We're excited for it, and we're really excited for this San Diego weekend. Let's start to break it down on the Horizon Forecast. This week's entry list and weekend schedule. On the Cup side, 39 entries. Corey Heim will be in the 67. Jimmie Johnson in the 84. Kevin Magnussen, former Formula One driver, in the Project 91 for Trackhouse. The O'Reilly Series has 37 entries. because of a rule that we'll mention later about how they're not letting guys double dip essentially, other than in rare circumstances. So there's no strong notables in really good cars here. You have your typical lower tier road course entries: LeBay, Pardis, Brad Perez, Austin Green, Jesse Awuji back in the 91. He's your watch out driver of the week. In the Truck Series, 35 entries: Jimmie Johnson in the 1, Adam Andretti back in the 5 for Tricon, Connor Mosack in the 7, Brendan Gaughan, little mini outer retirement. He's a West Coast guy. He'll drive the 20 for McAnally. McMurray in the free agent number 25 truck. Kaz Gralla, a little nice return here in the 62 for Friesen. Parker Kligerman back in the 75 for Henderson. Justin Marks back in the car in the Spire 77. Like I said, general rule was no one can run multiple series. Jimmie Johnson is an exception to that because he's Jimmie Johnson. Part-time, you're not going to tell him no. Austin Hill filling in the 33 for obvious reasons there. And Brent Cruz is going to be Christopher Bell's standby driver in case Bell cannot make it the whole way. And I have a feeling Cruz probably will get in that car. Weekend starts off pretty early tomorrow. Noon Eastern time, truck practice and qualifying on FS2. O'Reilly practice at 3:30. Cup practice at 5 o'clock. And then the truck Navy 250 on FS1. Stage lengths here, 12, 12, and 26. Low lap stage lengths because the track is so long, as we're about to discuss. Saturday, O'Reilly qualifies at 1. Cup qualifies at 2:30. And then the O'Reilly United Rentals driven to serve 250s on CW at 5 o'clock. Stage lengths there, 15, 15, and 30. Then on Sunday, the big show, the Anduril 250 race the base at 4 o'clock, 20, 20, and 35 stage lengths there. The Naval Base Coronado track, again, 3.4 miles, 16-turn road course. SVG and Zilisch both on the Dale Jr. download. They said it was tougher than Chicago, and even SVG is crashing it in the iRacing sim. So this is certainly not going to be a walk in the park for these guys.
No, I don't think it will. And I think that's, lending ourselves to maybe take advantage. While there are definitely spots we want to hammer in the placement props, and I certainly have done that. There is still a little trepidatious that things could go haywire, just like it did at Chicago the first time we ripped out there, right? So I think as the weekend progresses, though, we'll probably learn more and more, and that's kind of how I'm treating this a little bit. I think by Sunday we'll have a better grasp of this course. Hopefully, no BS weather calls and driving through monsoons like we saw out there in the Windy City a couple of years ago, but. Overall, I think this is going to be a great weekend. And I'll tell you what, Elliot, coming up, everything is coming up, Seth, right now, because, a couple weeks ago we get married. Last weekend got to spend the honeymoon week out with you in Pocono, ripping that up. This weekend, the wife is going to a concert there in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So she's like, hey, what are you going to do all weekend? Well, I think I figured it out, babe. We're gonna be sweating out some bets out there in San Diego. So, wow, what a couple weeks for the NASCAR Ben boys here.
Man, no doubt about it. Thankfully, rain and San Diego don't normally mix together. It's gonna be pretty good weather out there. And again, the track is something that is really gonna be a menace. Probably ready to break that down here in just a second, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, let's go ahead and fire that up right now, and get. Oh, there you go. Get a look at that. And yeah, so. Elliot, what I want you to pay attention here on this diagram, kind of hard to see, but there are these larger numbers, and then there are these smaller numbers with rectangles pointing down to triangles with the turns, right? Again, if you're on the audio version, I apologize. That's why you come watch us on YouTube as well, though. Right there, right above the green there, that is your start-finish line. Of course, this is going to be a track that overall you're going to have 15 different turns you're looking at. Turns 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, pretty standard turns. Turn 2 and 3, that is Calamity Corner here, Elliot. Pretty much 90-degree turns both those ways. You'll get into a little chicanery down the backstretch of turn 9 through 11, and then we'll come back out with some wide sweeping turns for 12, 13, and then back into some chicanery 14, 15, and then back there through the start finish as well. So that's kind of what you were looking at from a track perspective there. Of course, you're kind of on the edge of an aircraft carrier. This is going to be scenic. This is going to be freaking sweet to have our men's and women's in arms on looking us. So overall, I think it's going to be a great track, and excited to see what this looks like. But any other things you have to break down and throw out for track concerns and analytics we should know about?
it really seems like that, the walls are really thin. You can really get into some crazy things from there down some of these stretches because, again, you only have so much room to race on because it's an active naval base. You don't kind of get to, you almost have to make the course around kind of what's there. So that's what they've done. They've added some new asphalt to places that needed a little extra love. But some of it, you're just racing kind of on older naval base roads. They've talked about a lot of elevation changes as well, especially, I think, after turn 1. I think I heard I listened to SVG and Zilich's breakdown a little bit. I know there's another breakdown that Shane has done as well. And obviously, he knows a little bit more about this than we do. So that's a good track breakdown to listen to as well. But in any case, man, this is really, it's really got to be the most challenging circuit that any of these guys have ever raced on.
Yeah, 3.4 miles, 16 turns. That is tough. That is long. That is, back in the days of when we would run like long coda, that's kind of what we're looking at there. And it does really combine, I think, a good amount of the street course elements that we've been used to and road courses more than anything before. So it really is a hybrid. I know in the model this week, we certainly took a bigger look at Chicago street course because that is the closest thing we've been to. But as you said, I think it's going to be tight. And when it gets tighter, it does not always get great for betting cards. That is something why we like some of these more traditional road courses.
Yeah, and what's really tough is 2 out of the 3 years at the Chicago street course, you dealt with rain as an element to the race. Only last year, which I guess it's good. The most recent one is the one that you get kind of the most straight up data from on Chicago street course. But yeah, as it always is, man, it's the general road course prowess. So you got your Coda and Watkins Glen, which we've both been to already this year. Sonoma, we're going to be going to next week. And, that's somewhere where we race every year. Roval's not around this year. And that's one's tough to compare to because, 2/3 of that track is just an oval. And then Mexico City as well, a really technical, newer road course that guys were on. So I feel like you can really pull some data from Mexico as well because it was kind of the same situation. Everybody's going in kind of blind, which they definitely are here, even though, Autodromo Hermano Rodriguez is a purpose-built road course, and this is some crazy shit we built on a naval base, which will be really exciting to watch because of the fact it's going to get really chaotic.
Yeah, it certainly will. And, we're going to hope and keep positive vibes that things go well and that we don't have a ton of fuckery. Like that's what we're hoping for the betting cards, right? Because you're betting on favorites. I'm betting on favorites. Like we kind of know who's who right now in the Cup Series on road courses, right? Like you and I could go back and forth. If we did a draft, we're all going to want the same guys in our top 5, right? So that's how I'm expecting things to play out. But you never know here, especially like, you get some guys who are a little bit better on street courses, specifically more than road courses like your McNasties.
Yeah, man. Hey, just as long as the catch fences are high enough that we don't have anybody flip into the water, I think it'll be a successful weekend.
Yeah. Oh,
they are. You see it up there near the top of your screen. There's that section of 2 turns that you're literally right on the water there. So that was my first thought was, man, I hope they build those walls really well because that would kind of be a bad deal. But IndyCar raced over a bridge in Nashville a couple years ago. So if that works, anything can work, right?
Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right, man. We go down, we do 3 turns in the Pocono Mountains, middle of BFE. I think they'll be all right here. I'm sure there's some big Navy brain engineers people who figure this one out.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you couldn't get enough speed there anyway. But just one of those silly thoughts because we've seen the track on iRacing, but until noon tomorrow when the trucks get out there, we kind of won't really know what to expect. That's what's the beauty of it, man. All right, if we're all done with the track breakdown, let's take a look at some of the trends in the model discussion. We've never raced here before, but that doesn't mean there's not trends. We got some road course action for you. And it starts off with the road course average running position since 2025. Big shocker who your leader is, SVG at 3.2 average running position. Christopher Bell is second at 10.2. Reddick at 11.1. Briscoe 11.3. Gibbs 11.7. Those are all kind of expected as your second-tier guys. Michael McDowell comes into play at 12.3. But without that asterisk mark finish at Chicago last year, that would be 7.3. So that would put him second if he doesn't have those mechanical issues there. Then you got Blaney 12.4. Chastain 12.6. Allmendinger 12.9, Buescher 13.3 as some of your top guys. In terms of those who have finished top 10 in both of the road course races this year, Shane van Gisbergen, Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Michael McDowell, and AJ Allmendinger. So those are probably your top 5 heading into the weekend. You look at active drivers who have won on a street course type of race because we've had a few. SVG has 4. Bowman has the one on rain tires in 24. Cole Custer won, I believe that was the 23 O'Reilly race, which was shortened, didn't even make it to halfway because of the weather there. And then Lane Riggs won at St. Petersburg when the Truck Series made their debut there earlier this year. And we're guaranteed to add at least one new name to this list, as none of this quartet are entered in the O'Reilly race. So even if we get repeat winners there, O'Reilly will have someone new. One more road course stat: laps led on road and street courses since 2023. SVG is at 418. The next best is Tyler Reddick at 188. Then you have Byron at 139 laps led, McDowell 128, Larson 111, Bell 95, Allmendinger 83 laps led. What this all comes down to is, like I said, the general road course and street course prowess is probably going to be king. And all of these names on this list, if you give me the likelihood for your top 10, top 15, you're probably going to see a dozen of these guys, if not more of them, finishing in that, top 10 to 12 range come Sunday night.
Well, and even becomes more important to have this type of prowess when we're on a track like this, where it's even more difficult, right? Of course, that raises the concern for fuckery. And if, but also if you can get out to a good Saturday and unload quickly and be in the top 10 all day, not have to go back with the squirrels, not have to play a bunch of this pit road shenanigans and strategy BS games, that is your best bet. You want to stay, I think, like, take the stage points, right? And hang out, I think, if you need to. But I think other than, like, if you need the points, like SVG kind of needs them with where he's kind of on the chase. So I understand him staying out. But like at the same time, if I'm like someone that, like I am this week, like betting on Michael McDowell, I want you short pitting this. You know what I mean? I want you short. Like, you're pretty much out of the chase anyways. Like, well, I mean, you're in it, but you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he's either 19th or 20th. He's kind of close. And that'll be the interesting part about the strategy. I do think Shane probably will take the stage wins because we've seen him drive from 26 to the front in the last run because he's just that good. But like McDowell and Allmendinger,
Reddick, what does Reddick do?
Yeah, Reddick is Reddick can just go for the win. He's already in the chase as much as anybody can be in the chase. McDowell and Allmendinger could take the stage points, but they also know a win might be able to get them more points. So we will still see some interesting strategies because those guys are just close enough to maybe kind of sort of think about the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my big thing. Like, I just want people to stay out of trouble and stay on your P's and Q's. Like, stay away from these guys that don't really maybe know what they're doing, like your Jimmies and your Magnusons. I don't know, man. Like, this isn't the place I'm trying to send out. Like, even Austin Hill in this race makes me a little bit queasy, to be honest with you.
Well, Hill was in the Chicago race last year, and I don't think was all that embarrassing. And
but also he was in the O'Reilly Series Watkins Glen race last year where he took out half of my bets in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I mean, that was nuts. I still don't know how he didn't get suspended. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. K-Mag will be interesting because, I mean, we've seen this happen. An SVG comes in. Supercars are much more similar to Cup Series cars than Formula One cars are. We've seen Jenson Button come in kind of around the same late / end of F1 career as Magnussen is at. He was in a wear car. Yeah, Hand, another guy coming in from different racing disciplines. So it's one of those where you really don't know till he gets out there. I mean, Kimi Räikkönen, the same thing, kind of had some decent runs, but, was never a threat to win in NASCAR. Either way, though, it's cool to see Project 91 is revived, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was that first SVG run that Joey Hand was running like top 5. He might have finished. I don't know if he finished top 5 or not, but he was.
I don't know if he was in 23. I know for sure he was in 24. He was the second guy on the wet tire strategy behind. He ended up 4th in that race, I think. So
yeah. So that's what I mean. Sometimes, and like we've even saw it down in the Truck Series earlier this year with some of the people who were used to.
Dario and Hinchcliffe kind of ran top 10 all day, but they kind of got back a little bit, got knocked around. Both the trucks ended up with damage, and I don't know if either ended up in the top 10, but we saw them show some speed.
I think Ricard did actually. I know Hinchcliffe had some bad luck there, but I think there was a top 10 from one of them at least.
Well, either way, good for them, and I know they want to be racing in this race too, I'm sure. Some more general trends on the ovals and road courses and all the courses because they're relating to qualifying a lot. In 2023 to 24, when you look back, still early years of the next gen, we had a 52 race stretch where the pole winner only won one time. But in the last 37 races, your pole winner has won 15 times, just over 40% of the races, while front row starters have 23 wins, which is more than 62% of the races over the last 37. Counting only the 2026 races, the pole winner has won 8 of the first 16. So that's half the races. That's the highest rate since 1975. And that includes both of this year's road course races were won by the pole winner. And we talked about manufacturer dominance. Toyota has won 10 of 16 races this year. Reddick and Hamlin have won 9 of those. The 45 and the 11 in the standings, they are 146 points over third place Ryan Blaney, which is nearly a 2-race gap. So it has been Toyota's dominance, as well as the guys who start up front. More often than not, they're winning the races.
Yeah, Saturdays are important. Getting off in practice is important, right? And we talked about that with Mi Amigo last weekend, right? When we talked to Daniel Suarez, like that opens up your playbook so much more to consider different strategies and to keep yourself really staying water throughout the race and being able to maneuver and adjust, right? We saw it kind of last week with like Chris Bell, who tried to pull off a Hail Mary. He just was like, if he was maybe running top 10, maybe running top 15 even throughout that race, that might have worked and he might have stole a win up there in Long Pond, right? But he was hanging around 20th, and so it kind of just limits your playbook a little bit more. So, yeah, you got to get off quick here, and especially in this race. Again, you want to avoid that squirrel's nest in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, because it's going to get messy. I don't know if it's quite going to get Hocevar blocking the whole track on lap 2 and causing the wreck kind of messy, but either way, it'll get messy. Talking about Chris's model, heavy emphasis, like you said, on the Chicago street course as well as the road courses from this year. He also made the decision to exclude the Roval in his 2025 road course data, which, like I said, the Roval is a road course by name, but definitely there's not a lot of comparison to be made between San Diego and the Roval, so I understand it. In terms of the model standings, if you asked anyone, who are your best 5 road course racers in the series other than Zilisch, you probably get the top 5 of our model. SVG and Reddick were actually tied for first. Then you have Gibbs, McDowell, and Bell as your top 5. To see the full model, of course, you can hop into the IBT Racing family, $3.99 a month or $36 for the year. We'll give a more extended plug for that in a minute after we talk about this week's iFantasyRace.com Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week, which this week is nobody because we didn't have a race here last year. This is the inaugural event. We bring them to you each and every week when there is a previous race at the track to compare it to. Not the case. But if we were to look back to Chicago street course in 2025, you could use some of those drivers like Hocevar, Keselowski, Austin Dillon, Todd Gilliland, who all crashed on lap 2. Both William Byron and Michael McDowell had mechanical issues in that race, didn't get the finishes they probably would have. Or if you even wanted to go Corey Hyman, the 67, he didn't qualify for the race last year, had mechanical issues in qualifying. So all those guys would, in theory, be asterisk mark drivers. But again, we don't have an official one this week, but still shout out to Ryan and IFR for all the fun that happens over there.
Yeah, and Hunter making a really good point here in the chat. It's the typical people you think to finish top 5 or 10, but watch out for Heim in this race. He's been really good at these track types, won all 3 road courses last year in the Truck Series. He certainly did. Elliot, plus 340 is the best I'm seeing. I'm not on a prediction market currently with my phone up, but at least what I'm seeing on the Action Network odds board for top 10s across the books, plus 340, like, it's a fine number, but like for Corey Heim, a guy who just hasn't raced enough in this next gen car, I think that's a little hard to squeeze. Like if we get like a 6-1 or something on it, Hunter, I think that's actually a really good thought. Or even a head-to-head matchup with someone like, I don't know, like an Alex Bowman or something I might take.
Yeah, maybe even like with his teammate, like a little Heim versus Herbst action or something. Ooh. He's somebody that I'll keep an eye on maybe after practice and qualifying, see where he ends up. But we know Toyota has speed. We know 2311 has speed. We know Heim is solid on the road courses. Just kind of a matter of how that all translates to the next gen.
Yeah, I actually like this call too for fantasy. If you're playing in DFS lineups or if you're in like our Fan Tracks league that we're running over there too. Like Heim's like a $5, foot long over there. He's your minimum guy so to get someone like that in that slot would actually be pretty advantageous, Hunter. So appreciate him pointing that out. Appreciate Ryan pointing everything he is out on iFantasyRace.com each and every single week.
And before we get to the bets, man, remind everybody again about the IBT Racing family, would you please?
Yeah, absolutely. You can now, guys, join our community for free right now, gain access to chat with ourselves and all of our analysts and great audience members as well. We have memorabilia giveaways in there as well, which should we throw that out, Elliot? Should we throw that out right now too?
Here we go. Let me bring up the graphic because last week we did have a fantasy spin giveaway to win a free Ross Chastain autographed 1/64th scale diecast which went to the winner of the Fantasy Spin Backroad Tricky Triangle Competition. And who do we have there, Seth?
Yeah, Go Yachty. Go Yachty is the winner of that. So Go Yachty, if you're a listener to the program or if you're in the IBT Racing family, either way, contact us through the comments of this video or hit us over there in the Discord, and we'll go ahead and get your information there. Probably want to jump in the Discord either way, in-betweenmedia.com/chat. Come over there. We can get your address. You were the winner, so we want to make sure you get that Ross Chastain 164th autographed diecast. Pretty freaking sweet. And if Go Yachty doesn't claim it, we'll keep going down the list, but appreciate everyone who hopped into that. That's just one of the many giveaways we're doing this season. Still got a lot left going on there. And that's all for free. You guys can get there. But then if you want to upgrade, you can get our full betting cards each week, the betting model, the head-to-head matchup contest. And that's $3.99 per month or $36 for the year. You're also going to unlock all the benefits for the football family, the PGA family, entertainment family as well. Elliot, been really scanning the Heisman odds this week and some NFL futures awards markets. Andrew Erickson and I over on the Betting Pros channel did a futures show today, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm back in it. I love placing those futures. But I love that every week also being able to kind of wet the whistle and get that instant gratification out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I mean, that seems like part of what a lot of people are doing to kind of help their odds this week is to parlay some of these favorites with odds in other sports. I don't have that luxury. Best of luck to all of you, though, who do.
Did you see the guy who had an NBA player prop from about 3 or 4 years ago, and he parlayed it with Colombia to win the 2026 World Cup? And he's been sitting on this future for a 2-leg parlay future for about 4 years. Now he's got, I think, like 250 to 1 odds on them to win. But it's just like, man, what like talk about dedication. Us NASCAR gamblers, we have to hold our money sometimes for 9-10 months to start off the season to go to the championship. If we don't, we've been getting paid out on some season win totals already, which has been nice. But especially your championship futures, you're holding for a long time. And could you just imagine 4 years holding one?
Yeah, I will say for that guy, this is not official betting advice, but if he's got a cash out offer, I probably would take it. All right, man, I know everyone's excited to get to the bets. Let's go ahead and crack it open in the parking garage props. My topic of conversation I was thinking of when talking about what we think of the books this week, about a month ago or so, it really seemed like any number that we could find in the books, we could find it a little better over on Kalshi. And that's still the case for a few, but it really seems like that Kalshi advantage has really swung the other way. It's still nice to have more offerings on the prediction markets, but in the same odds and offerings that the books have, you really are finding stronger numbers on the books now than you are on Kalshi.
Yeah, you certainly are. And, it's one prediction market. It's also peer-to-peer. So I think a lot of the sharp players moved to Kalshi very, very early on in the process, right? And that kind of left some other catching up to do. But I actually have a couple prediction market wagers this week. And, still being able to get, top tens in the truck series is phenomenal there. Each and every single week, it's reliable. So I definitely agree, though. Like there's been a lot of juice. The top 20 market's pretty much been played out right now. You can't really get invested over there. But I think all great things will swing back around. But overall, I was really, really happy with the books. I'll just say, I don't have any SVG on my card, but other than that, pretty happy with what was thrown out there. Just had to do a lot of searching and coming through these odds.
Yeah, and I understand not having any SVG on your card because, like I said, he's kind of a guy you have to parlay this week. And I did that in a couple of different ways. My first parlay here is the KISS parlay, not necessarily Gene Simmons, but if you've ever heard the saying, keep it simple, stupid, that is where this parlay went. And I learned today that came from the Navy, so it's really fitting for this weekend. I really think, like we said, things could get really nuts in the mid-pack, even back half of the top 10. You could have some big surprises. But I do think that the road course experts are going to have Victory Circle covered. My debate here was between either Riggs or Honeycutt, who are the top 2 favorites on the truck side, but I went with Riggs. He won at St. Pete, has really been hitting his stride lately. As for Cruz and SVG, their resumes really speak for themselves, which leads to my other parlay, the GOAT and the Kid parlay. SVG, the GOAT road course racer, and they call baby goats kids. So Brent Cruz would be going for his first win this weekend. And to be honest with you, it would genuinely shock me if both of these guys do not win this weekend. It would have to take major mistakes, major mechanical issues, or some big time late fuckery for either of these guys to lose this weekend.
Yeah, and I do like the plays here, right? I was searching for a way to get down on SVG, and I think this is the way to do it. I specifically like your top one, right? Like Lane Riggs, obviously the favorite for a reason out there on Friday night. So I think going with there and going with Brent Cruz, who, I mean, this kid, man, he's been absolutely sending it. I do think there's maybe some other outs there in O'Reilly series than you are giving credit for, but overall, I like it, but just not for me this week, man. Like, I'm honestly just going to take a little value and run here. Give me a little Tyler Reddick, plus 1079 on the outright at Kalshi. I've been kind of regretting it, Elliot. Like, I haven't been betting as many outrights this week, even when I found some value. Just been a little gun shy this season. So tried to really turn that up a notch here this week. And look, man, like I love getting this number where he's like 7-1. Otherwise, I've seen for as low 7-1. I've seen at 9-1, the best other place. So nearly getting $2 extra of value out there on the prediction markets is really, really nice. And when you factor in that he's a top 5 road course driver, he's on an absolute heater, right? Coming into this, first in driver rating momentum, third in average finish in that span, the last 6 races, and in some of the best equipment. It's just too long of a number for me. I don't think Tyler Reddick should ever be really close to 11-1 on a road course again this season. And dude, like what happens if SVG's equipment just isn't up to snuff? Like this is a place you're really going to need it. So like even last week, dude, like Tyler Reddick, terrible in qualifying, had a good practice, but just didn't get off the gun there. Had a really bad start to his lap there in qualifying, but still finished P3, had that late run speed. Number 2 in average starting position when you go back to Chicago as well. Number 3 in average running position in the Windy City. And he had a 2nd and a 3rd place the past 2 seasons. Was running really well there the first season as well. Wet tires, ended up sliding into the wall. Bad year there. But number 2 in average road course finish. 1 COTA, P5 at the Glen. And like we didn't even think he was that good at the Glen most years. So for me, Tyler Reddick, I'm going with the top 5 as well. Plus 125 at DK and the plus 1,079 at Kalshi, just over 10-1 there. Yeah. Going to see what Reddick has for it. I hate fading SVG. I never really have bet against him, but I think this is the week to do it.
Yeah, here are my thoughts on this one. I'll use my keep it simple, stupid mantra here. You're a moron for betting an outright that's not SVG this week, but if you're going to do it, this is the driver and this is the number to do it. So good job finding that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I hate doing it, but for half a unit when I can still get plus money on that top 5 that I hit for a couple units too, like no sweat off my back, right, if it doesn't come through.
Yeah, this is the play you have to make, though, at 10-1. And moving into the placement props now, little squad ride for the week, and another play you have to make is Michael McDowell can't be ignored this week. I've got the top 5. I boosted it from that 2-1 that most books had it on to plus 250 via BetMGM. They're being generous with some boosts again, and I even have them for next week too. So you might see next week for Sonoma some extra boosted odds there. It's one of multiple bets I have on him for the week. It's so easy to forget at that Watkins Glen race. SVG got all the credit. He was back in the 20s. He was a million seconds behind. He drove through and got to the lead. Guess who drove through right behind him? Michael McDowell to run second in that race on the same strategy. Great road course guy, as we've known for years. Won stage 1 at Chicago last year before the mechanical issues, and had previous finishes at P7 and P5 there in the rain. Ran 5th at COTA earlier this year. And you look at his other road course races in 25, he had finishes at P4 and a pair of P5s as well. Top 10, I know you've got that as well. For me, I've got the top 5. I've definitely got a couple of more. I don't know why I didn't throw them in here, but where you can find them is when I put my full betting card in the IBT Racing family later, because this is far from the only coin that I have on McDowell, and I'm glad you're along for the ride.
Bettable top 10 numbers on Michael McDowell on a road course. You have to hit it every time, folks. It doesn't matter. And like, you got to ladder it up here to the top 5 too, with just what he's been doing. Like the only time he hasn't been top 5, looking at our closest comps, the 2 road courses this season, 5th, 2nd, as you said. And then even in Chicago, like, I mean, probably the second best car in Chicago last year, probably should have been top 5 there, top 5 the year before in Chicago, 7th place the year before in Chicago in that 2023 weird race happening there. So for me, dude, Michael McDowell's just so consistent. He has Spire speed. We even saw it last week at times. So yeah, I think McNasty, he's just one of the most consistent plays on the board when it comes to road courses.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell Defense Unicorns is, but that's something you don't see on a car very often, and that car should be running right up front there. Maybe a little bit behind SVG, but definitely should be in the top 5. Another guy that we're squad riding here, Ty Gibbs in the 54. I've got the top 5 on him, plus 175 on Bet365. You have a better number there. And for me, for Ty Gibbs, it's not just that he's strong on the normal road courses, but was great at Chicago. Ran second last year right behind SVG. And Mexico, he was the leader on his strategy, and it really looked like he was going to take that win from SVG before the strategies flipped. And who knows, maybe Shane would have driven away just like he did when he got the lead. But in any case, Ty Gibbs, really, really strong on the road courses now. Career at Chicago Street, he had that P2, he had the P3, coming and charging down Bowman and handing those guys in 24, and then P9 in 2023. This year, P3 at the Glen, P4 at Coda. Last year ran 7th at Sonoma. One of those guys that just really has the road courses figured out. And again, it's SVG and then it's the rest of the class. Ty Gibbs being up in the front of the rest of the class, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And like almost to tear that off a little bit further, Elliot, SVG by himself by a mile, tier break. Yeah. And now with Christopher Bell banged up, I'd say Tyler Reddick in his own tier. And then I'd say tier break. And then I would say Ty Gibbs, Michael McDowell, right? And that's kind of right where we have them in the projections too. Yeah. Michael McDowell, 83% B+, 4th in our projections. Ty Gibbs, 89% IBT grade, A-, 3rd in the projections. Like this is a guy who's just been so dang consistent everywhere we go on these road courses. He's been running great as of late coming in too, right? Top 5 in momentum driver rating, also top 8 in momentum average finish coming in last 6 out. So this is a kid just pretty fast everywhere we go. Early parts in that Pocono race last week, he had top 5 speed. He had some fastest laps out there. So, and you look specifically what he's done here at Chicago, next gen era driver rating. He's number 3, man, or number 2, excuse me. Number 2 in average running position. This guy is always out front. He's in great equipment. And like any way you can get Joe Gibbs Racing on your card, which we haven't done so far in this episode, I think it's a good way to do it. And I don't really see a better way to do it this week than having Ty Gibbs laddered up from a top 10. Again, bettable number, minus 150. That feels great. Everywhere else is minus 200. And then grabbing a plus 210 there. DK, very fortunate to have some good numbers out there on the driver that runs a similar color scheme. Maybe that's why they're so generous out there for Tyrone.
Yeah, maybe so. Even a little stars on that monster car this week should be going pretty fast near the front of the field. I've got a trio of top 10s to throw at you. Before that, though, I will let you go ahead on your little top 10, top 4 duo you got here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it hasn't been a lack of trying, but I've really struggled to hit Ryan Blaney on some road course top 10s the last couple of years. He's done it a bunch, but I missed out earlier this year, tried to come back at the Glen, and he was running top 10 all day, just finished 11th there. But like, you got to think, man, like this is the guy who has absolutely been the face of NASCAR's advertising for this race. I have to imagine he's been out here to the base at least more than once, or they're just doing some really cool ass green screening. But also like a guy who's kind of coming in here running pretty good as of late, right? 6th in driver rating, 2nd average finish over the past 6 races. We cashed that top 10 on him last week, and getting him at plus 180 just feels like a crazy number at Caesars. I'm a full unit down for it, just because like next closest plus 125, he's as low as minus 135 at places. So like for me, the model likes him, 73% IBT grade, 6 in our projections. Like you don't think of Ryan Blaney as a road course guy, but you said the stat at the top of the show too, driver or average running position at road courses since what, 2023, 2024, whatever that stat was. Like Ryan Blaney's on that list. He's a top 10 driver. Maybe he won't finish top 10, but to have nearly a 2-to-1 on a guy that at comp tracks this season, 5th in drive rating, 9.5 average finish, the 6th best, P8 at Coda, again, ran all day, top 10 at the Glen as well, just finished 11th. So yeah, I'm in here for Ryan Blaney for a full unit on that top 10. And like top 4, who else is going to beat him? Chris Buescher? Like that's it. Plus 340 at DraftKings. I've seen this for as low as plus 230. So I think you're kind of stealing a little bit of money here from DK once again today, sleeping on some Ford action there in Blaney. And just like our guy Billy Cole said, man, he's got that stash cooking right now, man. Got that stash cooking.
Stash definitely had some speed for sure. Blaney's another guy I'm cautiously optimistic on because they've had some road course speed, but Penske and road course speed haven't gone together for a couple of years. Maybe they've found something. And I do think, though, if I'm going to add Blaney to my card more extensively, I'm going to wait and see how P and Q goes and kind of see how it goes there. Like I said, cautiously optimistic, but I can't blame you for not turning down these numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, my trio of top 10s. Guess who's back? Back again. Denny's back. Tell a friend.
Oh, no.
You didn't expect to see some Denny Hamlin on the card this week.
No, I didn't.
No, he's not winning 4 in a row. That's obvious. But the road course numbers have kind of been better than expected the last year or so for Denny. I mean, not perfect, but had a P10 at Coda earlier this year. Last year, he ran 4th at Chicago. That kind of came out of nowhere, but that's our closest comp in the most recent street course race we've had. That gives me some hope at this number when you also factor in the general momentum that Denny has, the veteran presence that he's got, and Toyota speed in general. So Denny plus 275. I like Daniel Suarez at plus 320. This was a bet I was going back and forth on because this was around the plus 150 to plus 190 range everywhere else. Plus 320 at FanDuel, great number. Again, disrespect to some guys on FanDuel. I don't get it, but I will continue to make money on it. Former road course winner, of course, Suarez at Sonoma a couple of years ago. Ran 7th at the Roval last year. Has had some, back half of the top 10, top 15 runs at the Glen. But in general, it's a what have you done for me lately bet. Spire's been doing really well. Suarez has got to be feeling good, maybe better than he has in his entire career. So taking that what have you done for me lately at a more extended number, I really enjoy it. And now for the other surprise, give me some Jimmie Johnson top 10.
Oh, man.
19-1 on FanDuel. We were chatting after the race Sunday, grilling some burgers, having some fun there at the Airbnb. I look at you and I'm like, I kind of might bet the Jimmie top 10 next week. And again, back and forth on it, 10 to 13-1 at most books. But Jimmie Johnson has the joint longest odds in the field on FanDuel to finish top 10. And that's what I'm going to throw a couple of cents on. It's not a big unit share. It's a little sprinkle, maybe a sprinkle and a half, we'll call it. But Legacy's really the talk of the town right now, like we talked about at Pocono.
Yeah.
He's in his hometown. He's feeling good. He's feeling loose. He's got 2 cup races left in his career. And he also gets the pleasure of being one of a max of 3 drivers who will have already had in-race track time heading into Sunday. How much does that translate? I don't know. Enough for me to put a sprinkle on a 19-1 on Jimmie Jam.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, definitely feeling loose. You sent that clip to me over the weekend up in Le Mans.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to the Jimmie Johnson radio interview at Le Mans, as Dale Jr. said, that's Jimmie Jam. It's Jimmie Johnson talking about Le Mans for a minute and a half, just absolutely blasted out of his mind, and it's extraordinarily entertaining.
I thought it was just a little tipsy. I don't think he was hammered.
No, even Dale Jr., who has had his fair share of beers with Jimmie Johnson, said he was, quote, on another planet. So Jimmie was feeling something.
Stan saying Jimmie is old and broke. I feel similar, but I will say, like, the argument for him at 19-1 is exactly what Elliot said. Legacy speed right now, and also he at least will have touched the track more than anyone else coming into this, as long as, he doesn't have some catastrophic happen there on Friday night. So, yeah, I don't hate this, actually.
He's a veteran that can take advantage of getting through some fuckery. Unless fuckery happens to him, he's not going to be that guy to make a silly mistake.
And your Denny Hamlin bet, too, just to flash back to that. Like, I think that's actually interesting. I didn't realize he is 12th in our projections right now. And, like, Chicago, he's had some good startings positions there. If you remember, I think it was the first Chicago race ever. He started on the pole. Yeah. So, I mean, if there's ever a time to bet Denny Hamlin top 10 at a road course, I don't advise it often. I think I tried to do it a couple years ago at Coda and it burned me. This is maybe the place to do, and that's probably the number at plus 275. So I definitely like those two, the Jimmie and the Denny, the old men bet more than my guy Mi Amigo after he screwed me over last week after just hyping him up. I just, come on. We need that, Danny. We need that, buddy. Plus 375. Yeah. Bring that home, brother.
Yeah, but you had the swing and both your race day ads hit because Bell ran out of fuel. So you can benefit from that.
Fair.
As far as should have come along in the group bet with me and somebody in the Discord. It might have been Blurry.
I think it was either Kyle or Lars out there. Yeah, shout out to them. That I know that was like the one group too. I'm like, that's actually a pretty freaking nice group for Danny. So
we had fucking Daniel Dye was in the group, so we knew he wasn't. So all right, we got a matchup a piece left on the Cup card. Seth, let's start with yours.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll throw out a matchup here. It of course is let's go. Sorry, that down slacking off in the notes a little bit. Chase Briscoe minus 125. Against Christopher Bell, 2.5 units. Look, I said it last week multiple times. I said it on the Cup practice and qualifying post-show race. And I had it on the full Sunday race post-race show. Like, we got to fade Christopher Bell, man. I'm sorry, Marcus. Put the earmuffs on. But, like, this is a guy who essentially told us in the media center last week, and Elliot, he's kind of driving with one hand. He didn't sound overly optimistic about road courses. Heck, he didn't even sound overly optimistic about driving at Pocono as well. I mean, he was run 20th plus the whole day when he's a guy who's coming in as a top 10 favorite if it wasn't for his wrist. And then kind of got lucky with strategy, right? So I just think you have to fade him, man, especially against Briscoe here at minus 125. And the books were smart, man. The books, like, there was no room to get invested really with a not top 10. It was like minus 300 something. Well, I'm going to watch that over the weekend. Maybe that's an ad if that pops out and the other side gets some action on Kalshi there. I saw him against Willie B, minus 140 for Willie B. I was like, I'd like someone a little bit better than Willie B and a little bit better odds. Well, that's Chase Briscoe here, man. Finished P4 at the Glen, started third and led 8 laps at Coda. He lost his transaxle in that race, but before that, he was run top 10 all day. Second in total speed rankings at comp tracks since coming to JGR, again, courtesy of our friends over there at ifancyrace.com. So Briscoe finally like making strides as well, right? Third in momentum, average driver rating, 6th in average finish in that 6-race stretch. So Briscoe's hot. He's been good at road courses since coming over here in JGR. I love fading Chris Bell against him. I hate doing it at the same time because you're taking advantage of an injury, but if the books are going to let you, you got to run it.
Yeah, and Briscoe, you didn't even mention, I don't think, his P2 at Sonoma last year, best in class behind SVG. The one thing, though, I like Briscoe over Bell. I was considering this as well. But say Bell has a sub-driver come in, and say the sub-driver is good enough to beat the 19, how does this bet work out? Does it still count 20 over 19, or is it Bell stepped out? So I don't know if we even know.
I think it would be voided if it happens before Sunday and he calls it off. If it's mid-race, though.
He'll start the race for sure, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think if it's mid-race, it's like kind of similar to how that Connor Zilisch situation happened a year ago. Right. So I think the bet would pretty much stand. And if he has to switch and throw Brent Cruz, who's never really been in a cup car, I don't care how much Brent Cruz is simmed. He's not beating Chase Briscoe, especially if it's an in-and-out type of situation during the race. Maybe they have to go a lap down or at least, take some type of hit where they're going back to, to the back of the field during that swap.
Well, that was part of my point, too, is I feel like it's not even a deal where Bell's going to have to wait for the first caution. I mean, yeah, sure, you could get a caution early and it would make your life a whole lot easier. But 3.4 miles, even under green, you might not even go a lap down. You're definitely not going 2 down. And you're not going to have guys on speed going laps down. You don't have the 66 in this race.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's going to be either a guy has a big problem and is going to be out of the race or multiple laps down, or you're going to get the free pass. If Bell only running 1 lap, handing it over to Cruz right away, I think is probably the move.
How long does it take to switch out? Like, because don't you like? I don't know. Like, how long does it take to switch out a driver? Because don't you have to move their chair around too a little bit?
Yeah, so they would have the seat to where either it's adjusted for both of them, or Cruz would just have to kind of work with what Bell. It would just be getting the belts tightened, getting the guy out, getting the winter net back up. They could definitely do that.
Hooking in your hose though too, like you're losing a minute at least.
These guys practice this though. These guys know what they're doing. They do it as quickly and efficiently as they can, and it's a situation where they would be in better hands over the full race with a guy with 2 arms and wrists that can drive the car. I'm glad Bell's doing it. Bell's absolutely going to start the race to get the points, but he's better off run a lap around there, pull that son of a bitch in, and put Brent Cruz in. He'll have won the O'Reilly race. It doesn't matter what he's done in a cup car. Again, against Briscoe, I don't know, but I think even if you put Cruz in here, it's going to be a better day than you think.
I prefer Josh Balicki, if I'm being honest with you.
not Justin Bonsignor, though, right?
Yeah, it's a little inside joke. If you guys didn't check out the Cup Series recap video there on Sunday night, I had a little whoopsie there, but make sure you go check that out if you want a little Josh Balicki love.
All right, so with my matchup, I will say of all the bets I bring out on the show, it's the one I'm kind of the least confident in, but it certainly is worth the discussion, especially at the number. It is Chris Buescher over William Byron at plus 120 over on Bet365. It's a tough one because Byron's been quick lately, but we know Buescher certainly can rip it around the road courses. We talked about outdueling SVG a couple of years ago at the Glen. And to be honest with you, I mean, you have Blaney top Ford, but I think Buescher still is probably Ford's best hope of a really good run in this race. Last year on road courses, some of the finishes for Buescher, P7, P10, P3, and P4. And the other thing here, it's kind of worth factoring in just how bad Hendrick was at Watkins Glen. I mean, they barely had a car crack the top 20 all day. Granted, Byron was the best of them, got in a wreck, had some problems, but Hendrick was god-awful at the Glen. I do think they're going to bring more speed here, but it's just worth factoring in there. I think this is a battle, one of those, they're both battling in the top 5 all day. I'm going to go the heavier plus money on Buescher.
Yeah, I love this play, man. There's a reason you're swinging a hot bat and leading that head-to-head contest right now, because you're finding gems like this. Buescher 10th in our projections, and Byron 14th. Like, just hasn't been super steady. Again, some of that is the bad finish at Chicago when he did not deserve that a time or two ago, and but also just hasn't been super great at road course. When 2 or 3 years ago, you would say Byron's a top 5 road course guy, just owned the old configuration of COTA. So I like taking the Bushwhacker here. I think it's a good value at plus money as well.
It'll be worth watching for sure. I wanted to bring up a question in the comments here. Andrew asking, what kind of pit crew is Johnson bringing? I don't have specifics for you, but I'm sure it's the normal crew that the Third Legacy car has run in the past at Daytona. I don't remember if they use their own pit crews or if they loan from Gibbs or something like that. Sorry, I don't have a better answer. But, man, it's one of those things that just to get a top 10, he's not going to get a top 10 really on being one of the 10 fastest cars. No. Fast pit stops. It's going to be things are going to kind of fall into his lap if it's going to be a top 10. So it's not something I'm super worried about personally.
That's like when all your SVG bets don't happen because a bunch of fucking happens. Like you at least hope your Jimmie Johnson
raises transmission or something and I lose half my betting card. So
yeah, right.
All right, so that's it for Cup. Let's go to the O'Reilly series. And you were bold enough to bet an outright on its own. So let's talk about that driver first.
Yeah, I did, man. I had to go ahead and fire it up here. Give me a little William Sawalich on the outright. 25-1 at Bet365 and top 10 at Kalshi -126. I'm 0.2 of a unit down, so just a sprinkle, all of sprinkles there in the O'Reilly series race, and then 2 units down, pretty heavy on that top 10. Look, man, like this is a guy who had an engine blow at the Glen. I was betting on him then for a top 10 too, but he finished P7 at our other road course earlier this season. And also he was top 10 in 5 of 7 road courses last year, including a runner-up finish there. So for me, I think Sawalich is just a guy, whether it's the top 10 market, there's not a whole lot out there that's really bettable. And you can get him there. And then also for an outright, like, hey, let's see what happens. I think it's a guy who can run top 5, top 10 on speed. He's just someone like, for whatever reason, has a little bit of equipment issues, even though he's in some pretty high quality JGR equipment, and then also can just tend to get himself in some bad situations. And keep in mind, one of those not top 10s last year of the 2, one of them was the Austin Hill experience there at the Glen. So overall, I'm really happy with against Sawalich at these numbers. It feels a little bit like your Mayer long shot last week with like, hey, I just think there's a guy who can be in this race. I mean, he's a little bit more experienced than Brent Cruz. Is he as talented? I don't know. He's in the same dang equipment, though.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. And I kind of think with this number, I really don't hate it. But to start my road course betting here in the O'Reilly series, going to bring up this comment from Andrew, how he's doing the Cody special for O'Reilly. Green outright, top 3 and top 5.
Ladder.
And anybody who's watched this show knows exactly where we're going next. It's Austin Green. And so I have 3 individual bets in the O'Reilly series for this week, and they're all on Austin Green. But the one I wanted to talk about was Bet365 Group C, where he's 2-1 to finish over your guy Sawalich, as well as Alex LeBay and Harrison Burton. So this is basically going to be Green versus Sawalich. Yeah. And I will say about Austin Green, before I get to all the road course stuff, this is a kid who's got a chip on his shoulder now. He was originally full-time in this 87. You have a guy like Nick Sanchez come available with all the talent and a little bit of extra sponsorship money that he has. I understand why they've gone in the direction to put Sanchez in the car for the ovals, but they still know what they're doing. They're keeping Austin Green in this car on the road courses, and that never stopped him in the past from running really well. Like I said, I've got his top 10 bet as well, which is a guaranteed one for every single O'Reilly Series road course. And his outright was 45-1 over on Kalshi, just a smaller sprinkle even than I put on the Jimmie top 10. But this is one of those situations where if it ever would happen in equipment like this, it'd be a race like this, and I don't want to miss out on if he ever does win a race. In any case, I do think he can beat these 3 guys as well. You look at this year, had mechanical gremlins at COTA while this team was kind of still working out how to build a functional Xfinity car or O'Reilly car, and then ran 9th at the Glen, which, again, slam dunk top 10, just as we expected. When you look at his career now, he's up to 2 top 5s and 9 top 10s on road courses in the O'Reilly Series in 15 starts. That's pretty hot bat he's swinging. This is a guy who knows road courses. They're putting him in situations where he can succeed most of the time, at least when you don't have something breaking the motor at COTA. COTA's been the bad luck for him. Every other road course he's kind of run pretty solid, pretty consistently. So we're not at COTA, so I feel good about that to start with. The thing with Austin Green, you keep the car running and you keep it in one piece, he is always going to put it in the right position. And like I said, 9 for 15, that's in the top 10. And the top 10, again, Green versus Sawalich would be a good battle. I don't see LeBay or Harrison Burton getting a top 10. So I'll take the 2-1 swing here on my guy, Austin Green.
This is even like where I think if you're going to bet a group, you could even like hedge yourself a little bit and arbitrage this and just go with a little Sawalich here. I'd be curious, was Sawalich the favorite or were they co-favorites at 2-1?
I believe they were both 2-1.
Okay. Yeah. And like that, I mean, to get him any matchup at 2-1 against someone, like, no offense to Harrison Burton. He's flipped a couple of road courses here in the O'Reilly series on strategy and run up in the top 5. But aside from that, he really hasn't. So I don't see a lot of value with him. So I just think it's kind of a funny group to put someone like Austin Green and Sawalich in. So I that might be even something I look at where I'm not going to make a ton of profit doing, but maybe bet a half a unit on Green, half a unit on Sawalich, and still take a little bit of a profit either way. However that shakes out.
I don't know if I had it wrong or if the number's been bet down on Bet365 right now. Sawalich is the group favorite at plus 120. So I may have had it there. That's a little bit of a different story. You have Green at 2-1, LeBay and Harrison Burton both at plus 5.
Don't do that then. Don't do that. Yeah.
Okay. My apologies there. I may have had that one mixed up.
Yeah, then I'm not touching that one at all because I like Sawalich too much. Like if they were both in JGR equipment, I would take, I think I would take Austin Green over Sawalich, but yeah, not now.
Understandable. Sorry about the mix up there. But hey, that was a great breakdown for a hypothetical bet that doesn't exist. Sometimes that happens.
You can do that.
I mean, sometimes we do that because, one of us will get a number on Tuesday night. The number's long gone by the time we get here. We're still going to talk about it. You got one more, and it's on our little Slim Jim that we got ripping now.
Yeah, give me some Parker Retzlaff top 10 plus 228. Kalshi, Elliot shitting on the prediction markets here to crack off parking garage props. Half a unit down for me. And look, man, if there's one thing I've learned this season, and I learned up there in the great area that is Long Pond, Pennsylvania, Slim Jim is a freaking wheel man, dude. He was leading some legit laps last week. It was only 2, but it was like pretty legit that he was up there. Yeah, I mean, there were 2 legit laps, man. He was running top 5, top 10 for a lot of the day. Didn't get the finish he deserves. But he should be feeling good right now, right? 10th in the points. And he also at the Glen earlier this season started 6th, finished 7th. Doesn't have much road course history before that. So like really this is a vibes, a momentum. And what did you do for me last time out, not only on an oval, but also on a road course play? Don't look at his history too much, but Parker Retzlaff, you look at this top 10 market that's really kind of been beat to hell over there on the prediction markets. Parker Retzlaff won at least decent weight. I think still get invested, Elliot.
Yeah, the thing is, man, you really have to ignore the road course stats for this one. Granted, this was a year and a half ago now. Coda 2025 DNQ'd this race in the 4 for Alpha Prime. Viking,
Alpha Prime was throwing out freaking.
Say all disrespect, all due respect to Alpha Prime for what they're able to do. But Viking this year with Alfredo and Retzlaff have run much better than that. And there's no DNQs in this race. I do think Retzlaff for a top 10 at this number is an interesting play. Just not one I'm going to come on board with you. But again, Retzlaff, most of the time, I'm on board. Road courses, let's wait and see.
Come on, Slim. We need you, Slim. Let's go, baby. Come on. Prove Elliot wrong. You've been the Slim guy all year, too. You've been betting this guy's top 10 on the Reggie.
And guess who's not betting it this week on a weird.
You've been betting it even money or minus odds. We're getting plus 228.
Because they're on ovals when he goes and qualifies on the third and gets destroyed at Kansas because Quabble flips and Corey doesn't know how to drive a car or whatever happened there. Anyway, that's enough of O'Reilly. We got some truck bets as well. We were talking about Ram to open up the show, and you're pretty heavy on a Ram. I might have to clown you for this one, but I'm gonna hear you out first.
Yeah. So yeah. Look, I get it, and part of this is a salute out there to our friends and family we're thinking out there. But look, man, Mini Tyrell, you can say what you want about this guy, but I think there's some just ludicrous odds, and I'm feeling kind of the same vibes I had a little Dawson Sutton top 5 a couple of seasons ago when you graced me with your presence out there in Lancaster. But Mini Tyrell top 5, 50-1 at Bet365, top 10 at plus 840. I got a lot of big minus monies. I'm juicing it this week, but 0.15 of a unit on that top 5. I'm going a half a unit on the top 10. So just a little sprinkle, feel something here on Friday night. But hear me out, dude. Like Mini Tyrell, we saw in that program there, race for the seat or whatever it was out there. That like this is a guy not bad at road courses, right? And he kind of showed that last time we were out in the Truck Series on a road course. Started 30th there at the Glen, worked his way up to 8th there. So like, you know, there's a little something there. And that race, keep in mind, Elliot, too, that had guys like Connor Zilisch, like SVG, like AJ Allmendinger. You take them out and you put these old heads in here, like Jimmie Jam and we got Jamie McMurray racing. I don't know if like Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett are coming back, but like we got.
If they were doing ARCA here, they should let Bobby Labonte rip in that 18. That'd be fun.
It would absolutely be. But like, you know, you take out those guys, man, and like sub them in with these guys that we don't really think are going to be super competitive. Like Mini Tyrell was like a top 5 car or top 5 truck that day. So I don't know. I think it's just ludicrous numbers plus 840. I want to feel a little something in the top 10 market, half a unit. And like, hey, if that point, let's just ladder up for the top 5 at 50 to 1. Let's do it.
Man, I think for the Glen, though, you're kind of forgetting what a shit show that race was at the end, where you had restart violations galore.
Sure.
Got crashing, this, that, and the other. I don't know if you have the St. Pete stats. I kind of feel like he sucked at St. Pete. I don't know if you have that in front of you, but
yeah, I do actually have that. If he started 21st, finished 28th. So yeah. I mean, that's why 50 to 1 though, right?
You finished all the laps. He didn't wreck it.
Yeah.
Great. This is the kind of race where
he was 3 laps down, I guess. So he was 3 laps down, but he finished. He finished the race. You know, it wasn't a DNF.
And the thing is, though, if you were going with any other Ram, I'd probably be on board. I mean, Butterbean has some more talent than Mini Tyrell in general. I feel like Jamie McMurray's got the experience.
You're not getting these money.
I'd even
Tyrell's like minus 170 or Butterbean's like minus 170 for a top 10. You ain't getting that on Butterbean.
No, but man, I just don't know about Mini Tyrell. I guess I didn't watch Race for the Seat, and you did, and I guess.
I mean, I don't want to say I watched it. Like I checked it out. Like it wasn't like I was.
If he did well enough to win the show, he had to run well on some road courses. But I mean, it's these numbers, and it's the fact that there's, you know, especially in the truck race, it's gonna have the highest chance of fuckery. So I can't clown you for it, but I definitely am questioning.
Yeah, if I ever have enough time to watch Race for the Seat, I mean, that would be awesome. Like I still haven't watched the second season of whatever the playoff documentary that they released 6 months later that makes no sense. But
Full Speed. I never even watched either season of that.
Oh wow, geez, oh wow.
It was one of those where I'm like, oh, I should watch that, but it was one of those deals where it's kind of for new NASCAR fans, and like I'm already watching. You know, I know about these guys. I don't have. I don't care that William Byron plays with Legos. Like, it doesn't matter to me. So
that was.
It's going to get new fans in the sport.
Yeah, you got to meet his girlfriend. There's no longer his girlfriend out there, and
it's right. It's all outdated now. Why would I bother?
Also, I had my wires crossed there. It was actually Hinchcliffe that finished top 10 at St. Petersburg. Dario was the one who fell out.
Right. I knew there was something that went wrong there.
I thought I had the other way around, but yeah.
Well, either way, again, it will be fun to see some of these guys, some of these special entries all weekend. But with all the expectations of potential fuckery or crazy runs coming from guys, generally on the card for the bigger unit share, I stuck with my guys. You know, SVG, Ty Gibbs, McDowell on the Cup side, Austin Green on the O'Reilly side. So naturally, Connor Most on the truck side, minus 122 for a top 10. At Kalshi. I wasn't totally shitting on Kalshi. This was the best number I could find for a Mossack top 10. Bet365 has a top 10. He was minus 175. So I'll take this here. And you know, I
Bet365 has top 10s out there for truck right now. Really?
They had him out yesterday morning was the first time I looked at the books, and they had for both of the lower series outright top 3, top 5, top 10 group and matchup, and they're all still there. So worth a look over there. But this Kalshi number, the best I could find there. And with Mossack, 2 road course races this year in the 7, made it happen, finished 10th at the Glen. And St. Pete, if not for the worst pit strategy in the history of pit strategies, non-competitive pit stops leading the race. He's the only guy who stays out, goes back in the field, destroys the truck. Still ran like 14th that day, I think, but was not able to get the top 10 done. So as long as we keep up on the pit strategy and don't make the dumbest call in the history of pit calls, Connor Mossack top 10, feeling really good about it.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Also, for some reason, keep in mind, Not on Bet365 now. I think they must have pulled those. About to say, I looked over there earlier. Yeah, no top tens for ORS or truck, but maybe it's just me.
Man,
Maybe
they're not there. Oh, that's
I was gonna say maybe I got shadow banned from betting the top 10 because
Wow.
that's all I bet over there half the time.
No, that's a shame because they had been there. I'll take a look at my card here while you talk about your other top 10 bet in the trucks, but I'm almost certain I bet 365 top 10s. In fact, that's what I bet the Austin Green, I think, top 10.
Yeah.
So, man, that's a shame. I hope they come back.
So if I'm gonna be betting like some long shot, like for the fuck of it type of bets out there with Rip and Mini Tyrell, I'm gonna have to make sure I make that money back somewhere. So I got to drink a ton of juice here, which is a number that I would honestly usually not drink. But taking up soccer betting in the last couple of years, Elliot has like made me think like, okay, I can drink a minus 218 if I have to. Like I would rather not. But here's the thing with Caden Honeycutt. He's like minus 200 on every book for like a top 5, most places, minus 175. I think is the best I found. At that place, just give me a top 10 at minus 218, right? Because this is Caden Honeycutt, a guy who last time out, we saw him get his first Truck Series win in this equipment, only led the last 2 laps, but they're the last 2 that mattered there in that 11 truck, and won the Glen there, and then also was top 5 earlier this season at St. Petersburg. So I'm going to keep in mind, like, if we do get some re-releases after practice and qualifying tomorrow, trying to go back for a top 5, but I just couldn't lay it at minus 175 or minus 200. I was like, but I can kind of lay a top 10 at minus 218. Like, shit would absolutely have to hit the fan here for Caden Honeycutt not to finish top 10. So it's just something really like if the mini Tyrell bets don't come through, I'm still making some on my money here with a little Caden Honeycutt top 10, just kind of hedging myself. So.
Yeah, and this is some heavy juice to drink, but you're right. Top 10 is almost a certainty. Again, I was considering his outright. Apparently, he's running hundreds of laps in the sim on this place. Listening to SVG and Zilisch earlier on the DJD, they talked about that and they said, well, hopefully they don't when they set up the track and build the track, sometimes, this wall is a couple feet over, that wall is a couple feet over.
Oh,
it kind of makes all the sim totally useless. But Honeycutt getting a general feel for the track, that can only help his odds as well. Most recent road course winner in the best truck. Guy who's doing a lot of sim. I like some Honeycutt this week. I'm not down on the outright, but top 10, you're right. Damn near certainty.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, honey. I need you, baby.
Going to be a fun weekend. We're going to close it out here with our 2 little fun segments, starting with the head-to-head matchups contest picks. And like you mentioned, Seth, we have a new leader. Finally caught Chris. He was the leader, I think, from the jump. I've not only caught him, but I have passed him, thanks to Eric Jones over Keselowski.
Well done.
Chris, though, 1 behind me at 10. Blaze Wolf, CJ, and Larson at 9. Seth, man, you're down the leaderboard a bit at 8. Down there with Blurry Kyle. You guys have got some catching up to do, and it all starts this week.
Yeah, I've hit a very rough stretch here in matchups the last couple of weeks. They have not gone my way. So I'm just going back to what I said at the top here. I'm going to fade Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, minus 125, bet 365 over Bell. Yeah, guy has a broken arm. Briscoe's top 10 driver here in my book and in our projections. So, yeah, that's where I'm going here. Got to get one back, man. I think it's been 3 weeks in a row I've missed on the head-to-heads. There are a couple good ones thrown out last week on Eric Jones, and I just didn't get down early enough on them. So, yeah, I got to try and make up for past doings here.
Yeah, I would say I hope you do, but I hope you don't because I want to keep the lead there. Lately, like the mid part of the season.
Don't root against me. Don't root. I'm
rooting against all of you but me. I'm trying to win.
I'm not your problem here right now. If anyone, you got to be rooting against Chris or Blaze Wolf or Lars. Those guys are swinging a hot bat right now. Me and Kyle just trying to stay afloat out here, dude. Come on.
All right, so mid-season, I've started to kind of also just throw matchups in that I'm betting and use them. But early in the year, I was throwing in some stuff that, hey, I'm only picking this for the contest. I don't have coin on it. And that's what I'm going with here. Fanatics has some absolutely crazy matchups that were brought to our attention over in the IBT Racing family. And I'm going with Alex Bowman plus 195 against Kevin Magnuson in the Project 91. Again, I don't have coin on this one. And as I'll talk about as the season goes on, I'm generally going to be fading the 48 probably the rest of the year. Maybe a track here or there, but just the way things have been going, fading the 48 going to be probably a good answer at, what do we got, 20 races left, 17 of the 20, probably worth fading the 48. But I do think at a road course, on a street course, a guy who was at least good enough to hold the lead and not screw it up a couple of years ago at Chicago, I do think he can beat someone who hasn't done this in a stock car before. And Kevin Magnuson, for all the credit that you can give him, there's just as much of a chance this goes the way of Raikkonen, Jensen Button, guys like that who were not contenders in this race, rather than the SVGs of the world.
Boris said, I think I was an Xfinity guy,
Boris said nationwide series winner was at 2010, 2011 up at Montreal. God,
I guess the 65-year-old
was always one of my favorite races of the year. If we don't do San Diego again, we got to move this weekend to Montreal, and that's one where we might have to send it and get a little Canadian, get a little in between the Canadian border.
Yeah, just don't send. I got my passport too, so I'm ready to go if that's the case. But just don't send 70-year-old Boris said out there. But I don't know why he came to mind. But maybe it's because Kevin Magnuson's getting up there.
That really was a shame. He ran. He got an opportunity in the Hendrick 17 like 3 years ago, for I think that was his last Xfinity start. Crashed the thing in practice and ran like garbage. But Boris said in his day, man, he was one of the best.
Yeah, certainly was. And honestly, it is crazy. You're getting nearly 2-1 on a guy in Hendrick equipment going up against a guy who's never raced a road course or never raced a stock car. Like, it's just crazy numbers. So,
this is a book recognizing that the 48 team has generally been garbage all year. I mean, obviously you throw in the injury, that doesn't help things, but short of those P3s back-to-back, Talladega and Texas, the cars had no speed. Zero speed.
Is this a matchup that's like too good to not bet, or is it a sucker bet that somehow like Bowman just doesn't even compete with him? You know what I mean? That's crazy.
That's why I don't have any coin on it. But this is
because it's hard to comp, right? It's hard to break down what Kevin Magnuson's going to do. That's why neither you or I have a bet on him.
Yeah, and it may be that this is the last time I pick the 48 all year, other than like a super speedway or maybe Chicagoland. So fun weekend. I'll take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense.
All right, man, to close out the day, we are going to do our little fantasy spin. If you want a different kind of daily fantasy experience, Fantasy Spin lets you spin your lineup, make your picks, and compete in tournaments based on real player performances. Like a slot machine, man, you can hit the jackpot with Fantasy Spin. Their unique game combines the skill of drafting a DFS lineup with a captivating gamified experience that we're about to show you right here in a few moments. You can enter contests and spin your DFS lineup for a chance to win big. Whether you're playing for free, like we have to here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, or for cash, which is available in some other states, Fantasy Spin, man, they have got you covered. You can check the link in the description and use promo code IBT NASCAR, deposit at least $10, and play at least one tournament to get $30 in bonus play. You can support the program. You can check out Fantasy Spin. Let's make some noise for the rest of the racing season.
Spin, pick, win.
All right, man. So we've got Fantasy Spin rocking and rolling, Seth.
Yes, sir. And look, man, if Daniel Suarez had a little bit better of a finish there last week, we might have had a shot at taking down our own tournament. We're going to the main event.
I was looking forward to entering that contest too. I was saving my entry for some content that we got busy enough we were never able to get it done. So I was an absentee for that.
And it wasn't for a lack of trying. Let me tell you, we were up. Yeah. We were at the media center, I think, Saturday night till about a little before, I think 11:30. I think we got home at midnight, kicked around a couple beers, ate some food, and we got home. Probably saw 2:30, and then we're back up at 6:15, ready to rock and roll. And let me tell you, no traffic for the kids yet last week. We definitely
barely beat it.
We did though. We absolutely did. All right, so let's go here. No Daniel Suarez in my lineup this week, Elliot. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see what the spin gives us.
Oh, hitting bangers right off the
Reddick and McDowell. I think we got to lock them both.
Yes, lock them in. Lock them in. Wow,
sure.
what a hot first spin magic. Let's hear. Oh wow, got a little mosquito or something flying around in here too. All right. I slapped it off. Here we go.
And Zilisch.
Oh, Zilisch
and Dinger. Oh man, I feel like I locked Dinger, but we gotta lock Zilly.
I gotta lock Zilisch. I got 3 spins left, and I'm really debating because like we can always unlock Dinger, then you're clogging up one of your holes for 3 potential other drivers. I would love to get
who else. Let's go to. Or yeah, sorry, go ahead. I'll look at.
I would love Reddick in this lineup, right? Like I would love Reddick.
Then otherwise it's like Reddick or Gibbs or maybe Blaney are the only guys I'd probably put ahead. Maybe Buescher ahead.
Yeah, like I mean,
Oh.
what about like, are we really gonna fade like Larson and Chase Elliott and Briscoe that much? Like those are the
Briscoe maybe. Hendrick was dog shit at the Glen.
all right.
so-
Let's lock Dinger, and if we get a good spin the next two, we'll we'll consider.
We can take the risk.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Oh, Buescher. I think I'll lock in Buescher.
Right. I think you're right.
All right,
Maybe we'll get lucky and
Okay.
maybe we'll get lucky and get Dinger back or somebody.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Is this our last spinner? We got two more. Ring lights in front.
Two
of us.
more. Ryan Blaney. Oh, do I keep?
I kind of think we got to spin and see what happens.
I'm locking
Blaney
Blaney.
over Buescher. All right.
Yeah, he's been out there, man. He's been ripping.
All right.
Cole Custer
Got Dinger back.
Let's go.
We got Allmendinger back. So this right here, I mean, man, if
That's
this
a great
doesn't win,
lineup.
I'll be shocked. This is an absolutely top tier lineup. And Cole Custer, I mean, he's got good old George H.W. Bush on the car this week. That's got to.
He wanted at Chicago a couple.
Yeah,
it was like
one of the
20
four drivers
laps,
who's
but-
won on the speed course before. You're right.
Let's go.
Nailed it.
Let's go,
I don't
baby.
think Fantasy Spin gets better than this, Seth. I think we've hit the top lineup for the top track.
I can't wait.
This is
I'm gonna be ripping O'Reilly series after this and little truck series action. But yeah, great stuff over there at Fantasy Spin. Shout out to Andrew here in the chat saying Seth daring to be great. That's what I'm all about this weekend, Andrew. That's absolutely what I'm about here. And Andrew, little Rhodes 27. I was looking at some Rhodes top 10 numbers. I couldn't find a good one to get down on.
Yes, he did run up front a lot of the St. Pete race, didn't he?
He did,
I
absolutely.
think he ran up front and had, I forget, it was a mechanical problem or got involved in a wreck. I don't think he finished as well as he should have there. But I
also think I also don't think he did super well at Watkins Glen either. I think he was pretty. I actually have those numbers right in front of me, so I can tell you where he finished there. Yeah, I mean, started 9th, finished 32nd while running, so not exactly what you want there out of the 99. No stage points on the day, so I don't hate the number at 27. Ben Rhodes got to win at some point. This guy's got 2 championships. He's like 27.
I mean, that doesn't guarantee anything in the trucks. I mean, hell, Matt
Yes.
Crafton won a title without winning a race in a format that encourages
Fair.
winning all the races you can. So, truck series, you just sometimes have that, man.
Yeah, Rachel checking in as well, saying hello, Rachel. Happy early birthday to her. I think she's celebrating a birthday next weekend. So
Hey, all right.
happy birthday, Rachel. Yeah, Elliot. Anything else for you here, man? Before we close her out,
Man, I'm just so excited about that Fantasy Spin lineup. We really nailed it, and it really is going to be a great weekend at San Diego. I'm excited to see everything that goes down from the Buckery to the great racing to the SVG rugby punt on Sunday evening.
yeah, certainly agreed with you there, man. And thankful that we get to live in a country here. We get to NASCAR bet as a hobby, and thankful all those servicemen and women, including the great ones out there at the Navy base out there in San Diego here that we'll see all throughout the weekend. Grateful for that, man. Grateful for this racing community, both here on the YouTube, right here at FSAN Racing Advice over in-betweenmedia.com, and also there in the Discord as well. Appreciate all that. Great last weekend with you, man. I'm excited to see you in a couple weeks here in Canton as well. So getting fired up for that as we speak.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Going to be an exciting time. A couple weeks away from America's 250th. It's kind of a couple week-long celebration here. Naval Base Coronado is going to bring us twists and turns and everything we can ask for. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun weekend. Shout out to all of you riding on down the back road with us. Best of luck with your bets this weekend for San Diego. See you next time.